Utah, known for its vibrant colors, diverse landscapes, and incredible views. It has everything from arid desert and rocky mountains to lush pine forests and wetlands. Over 70% of the land is federally owned, and it's the only state in the US to have national forest in every county. This area of the country is an overlander's dream. In 2018, I spent a single day in Utah, and I vowed to go back. This is my trip. This story starts in a hot and humid Missouri. Last night's campsite was anything but peaceful. We were parked in the parking lot just up the road from the interstate. But I don't really care because it was convenient. It's one of very few free campsites that are available in this part of Missouri, and it's just on the way to where we need to go. We didn't end up using the designated campsites here because they're all flooded from a lot of heavy rainfall they've had this part of Missouri recently. We're gonna go for somewhere pretty tonight. It is a long way and we'll probably get there at dark, but I'll see you when we get somewhere interesting. The drive from Missouri to the mountains of Colorado took us about 14 hours. The roads were flat and the driving was easy. As we approached the mountains, I struggled to get good video.
All these bugs. It's hard to enjoy the view through all this.
We pulled into camp just as the light was fading on the horizon.
Hold up a second. Who's that? What are you guys doing here?
Trying to get away from you. You followed me all the way out here.
This is campsite number 2, and what a difference from last night. We were out just south of Sand Dunes National Park in Colorado, and it is so peaceful out here. Not a sound. On the morning of day 3, we were greeted with wide views across the San Luis Valley. Wes and I went south towards New Mexico. On our way, we were lucky enough to come across the Cumbres and Toltec Scenic Railroad as it made its way up Cumbres Pass. Meanwhile, the others had gone to the Great Sand Dunes National Park. The dunes had been one of my favorite stops on our trip to Colorado last year. The park is made up of 1.2 cubic miles of sand covering 30 square miles, with the tallest dunes in North America sitting beneath snow-capped mountains. Medno Pass Primitive Road runs parallel to the dunes, with several creek crossings. This year, the pass was closed due to flood damage. It's made up of extremely soft sand, so it wasn't long before the first rescue of the trip was made.
You're on 'em.
So we've just hit the dirt roads outside of Aztec, New Mexico, and we're heading towards our campsite for tonight. We've got about between 30 and 50 miles of dirt roads, depending on the route that we take. We are airing down. It's not strictly necessary, but these roads are pretty bumpy and it'll just make the ride more comfortable. So it's yet another killer campsite here at Angel Peak Scenic Area in New Mexico with great panoramic views. See for miles around us. Over here, got Angel Peak. In the distance, I don't know if you can make them out, we have the mountains of Colorado up there. That evening, we were treated to the first of many desert sunsets. Angel Peak is in BLM land and is surrounded by over 10,000 acres of colorful Badlands. We decided to hike out to the point nearest the campsite for a better view. Rising over 1,500 feet above the desert, Shiprock is an impressive sight. 27 million years ago, it was formed in the throat of a volcano, with erosion slowly exposing what you see today. The rock is sacred to the Navajo people, so we stayed just over a mile away. I later read that some people prefer that you don't leave the paved roads at all. I had been invited on this trip by Andreas, who was traveling with his wife, Melanie, and his daughter. He had a strange obsession with driving with his lights on in daylight. With us, in the yellow Jeep, were Checo, Carmen, and their 2 children. This was their first big trip. We spent several days with Kurt and Jen and their 2 boys as they traveled around northern Arizona and southern Utah. We had crossed paths the previous night with Rob, who regularly travels across the country with his 92-year-old grandfather. Finally, there was Wes and Alyssa, with their 3 children. They had gone up to our campsite for the night at Muley Point, just outside of Mexican Hat in Utah. I decided to catch up. When I got to the top of the switchbacks, I stopped to video the view and noticed a Lexus towing a trailer. Somehow, I had passed Wes and Alyssa. This is campsite number 4, and it's like the views just get better every single day that we're out here. We're up just west of Gooseneck State Park, overlooking just southern Utah. Setting up camp's been a little tricky because the soil is incredibly soft here, but it's very shallow. You're talking about an inch and a half maybe, so the tent pegs don't work. We had to use rocks, and I went and broke a rock in half. I didn't know my own strength. Well, about 20 minutes after we got set up and settled down, this wind kicked in, and it's been gusting pretty hard enough that we had to put both our awnings down and the camper topper to protect it from the wind. We may end up moving. Way down below us, off in the distance, at Gooseneck State Park, we could just make out everyone else camping at the edge of the cliff. According to them, the winds weren't quite so bad further down. We decided we'd leave that campsite. It was absolutely beautiful up there. The views are staggering, and we really enjoyed our time up there. We got to spend time eating dinner up there. We went on a short little hike along the edge, took some pictures and some video, and now we're going to head down into Valley of the Gods, where we're hoping it'll be a little more sheltered, or we can find some shelter behind one of the buttes. We haven't really lost anything. You know, we got to see everything up there, and we wanted to go to Valley of the Gods anyway, so we'll wake up somewhere new in the morning, get to see some more sights. It's all part of the fun. As we pulled into our site in Valley of the Gods, we found it was already occupied.
Oh my gosh. That is creepy. Don't do that!
If you make that thing take off and fly in my face, I'm leaving.
I don't know if it can take off
Step on it!
or if it can fly from something
Kill
that
it,
is...
Dad! No.
I don't know if it can actually take off or it can just fly.
Did it just squeak?
Yes, it did.
Alright, I'm going back up top. See ya.
I'm going with you, Rob.
Wow.
Oh, there it goes. Holy cow.
Nope. Its wings went out. Its wings went out.
Come on.
Last night we came down from Muley Point to Valley of the Gods and set up camp down here out of the wind. Very, very peaceful down here, not a breath of wind, so we slept really well. So this morning, day 5, we're able to wake up and we're completing the Valley of the Gods loop, and again, it's beautiful out here. It's very, very pretty. And then we're going to head south and we're going to go into our 5th state. We'll sleep in a 5th state for a 5th day. We're heading down into Arizona. After stopping for a picture, Wes had a serious problem.
Frequency mode.
I don't know what to do. I've never had this happen before.
So what happened?
No, don't do this.
Come on. Tell the viewers. Crisis. Come on, you had a little crisis.
My key wouldn't come out of the ignition. And it wouldn't start back either. So the key was stuck, and when I returned it to start it, it wouldn't even act like it was starting. I got on I Hate Mud, and the first response was, jiggle the shifter. Every now and then when they put our truck in park, it won't click into the park. So I got ready to do that, and I looked down, and I was still in drive.
Bet you feel real smart right now, don't you? You were sweating.
I was honestly worried this is not the place.
What do you mean not the place? Look at that view.
Not the place to live.
I swear I'm not a dumb person.
A couple of hours later, we pulled into the beach at Lone Rock Campground, which had very soft sand.
Is it good right here, or should we move to like better sand? Whatever you want to do, man. Just don't stop right now.
Are you stuck?
I wouldn't call it stuck. I would just call it, taking a little break. My truck chose the spot.
Temporarily immobilized.
There you
I
go.
doubt I could restart right now. I had some momentum coming. I was like, don't stop, don't stop, don't
I
stop.
heard that on the radio.
Yeah.
Well, this is fun. We get to drive on the beach.
This is awesome.
Hey, that was too easy. And put it on two-wheel drive, get in there.
Yep. And then get the front one stuck.
Yeah, there you go.
Even that was too easy, so we went off to play in the dunes. As we started to get the hang of driving on the soft sand, people started asking us for assistance, at which point the Andreas and Rob Rescue Service was born. After rescuing a couple of people, Andreas went and got himself stuck. So behind me down there is Andreas, who went down there to get a picture for the gram, and now he can't get back up, and I bet he's sweating down there. The soft sand made it next to impossible to turn around or get a run up. After shuffling back and forth, he finally got lined up and put his foot down. But it wasn't enough, so he tried another way up. That didn't work, so he backed off one more time and gave it hell.
Got it.
That was awesome.
That was.
Let's see that one more time.
Yeah, right here. This is really steep. I can't believe you made it, especially down here.
Oh my god.
Hey, this is the easy part right here.
Oh my god. Wow.
Do you need
Wow.
some change of underwear?
I think so.
So how much did you sweat when you were down there and you didn't think you could get back up?
Well, I was just worried about turning around there with all that sand. I didn't want to get carried over to the edge. That was the tough part.
Yeah.
I knew I could, you know, even if I could make it up, I could get winched up, but turning around was the tough part. So I did that, and then, yeah, this was rough too.
The next morning, I was woken by the sun rising over Lake Powell. After relaxing on the beach, I drove 15 miles to Horseshoe Bend. As I pulled into the parking lot, I was immediately approached for a jump start from the ARRS. Welcome to Alstrom Point, looking over Lake Powell in Utah. Look at those views. I got here just after 7 and I figured this is as good a place as any to set up and cook some dinner. It is very peaceful out here, really quiet. There is one other person. They're camped off way over there. Tonight, I'm making some Kentucky burgers. I did have some bacon cheese that I bought in Vermont, but I left that at home. So I'll just have to have regular sharp cheddar. That night, as I was setting up camp, I was treated to another beautiful desert sunset. It's times like this I wish I had 3 or 4 cameras so I could video all of the angles. It is day 7 and I'm heading back into Page from Alstrom Point where I camped last night. It was kind of a spur of the moment campsite. I'd gone out there intending just to cook some burgers and then head back into Lone Island campground on the beach there. But it was so peaceful and the views were great, so I figured I'd just stay. And to be honest, it's actually the first time I've ever camped completely alone. I've always either had Elizabeth with me or someone else camping alongside me. It was a little creepy. I'm sure you get used to it, but there was a lot of wind last night and a lot of noises. It did keep me up for a while. But I'd say around midnight last night, everything calmed down to the point where there was just no wind at all. And this morning getting up was just incredibly peaceful. I was woken up probably around about 5 or 6 in the morning initially, as the sun peeked over the mountains over there and shone in my eyes. So right now I'm heading back into Page. I do need to go to Walmart and get some more food. I'm running low. And I'm gonna meet Andreas there, and I think we're gonna go to the Grand Canyon. It was about a 2-hour drive from Alstrom Point back into Page. While they waited, Andreas rescued several more vehicles, and Wes went out to play in the dunes some more. One thing that really struck me as we drove across Arizona and Utah is how quickly the terrain could change. Going from Page to the Grand Canyon, you start out in a very dry desert with red cliffs and sand. As you climb onto the Kaibab Plateau, the temperature drops dramatically and you enter a lush green forest with grassy meadows. just left the Grand Canyon, and tonight we are going to be meeting up with Kurt in the National Forest just north of the Grand Canyon. Unfortunately, I wasn't smart enough to download the National Forest Service maps to Gaia, so we're going with paper maps today. He's given us coordinates. I'm going to try and do our best navigating through the Forest Service roads using the paper maps. Going old school this time. If you haven't already picked up some of these paper maps, I really recommend the benchmark atlases. They are excellent. They show each of the service roads. They show unpaved versus paved, four-wheel drive versus just maintained gravel. It's well worth picking up for each of the states that you're visiting, and I'll put a link to the ones I've been using. Less than a mile from our campsite, Wes started causing drama again. What did you manage to do? Oh, so it's my fault? Don't worry, to the rescued. I mean, ARRS. He'd managed to hit a stump and get his tow hook caught over the front. As a result, he was stuck. Luckily, I'd packed a battery-operated chainsaw. A short distance from our campsite in the cool and shaded Kaibab National Forest was the edge of the Grand Canyon National Park, looking over one of the many side canyons that lead to the Colorado River. We are just outside of the Grand Canyon National Park. Grand Canyon's behind me, the sun's setting, and camp is just up there at the top. Look at that view. Day 8, we split ways. Kurt was staying in the Kaibab National Forest for a few more days, and Wes was heading up to Moab to get some work done. This is pretty much where we leave you, Wes, so we'll see you in Moab.
See you in Moab.
Andres is currently FaceTiming his mom, showing her what we can see. Day 8, and we're staying at a campground tonight. We're at High Road Campground just east of Zion National Park. We drove through it earlier and it was absolutely incredible. Was amazed at the views, and I can't wait to go back in tomorrow and hike some. It's impossible to put into words how incredible Zion National Park is, and how much I enjoyed hiking in Narrows. It's something you've just got to experience for yourself. When I was 15, my parents brought me on vacation to this area of the United States. We spent a couple of weeks driving around in an RV, and one of the states we spent the most time in was Utah. While we're here, we went to Capitol Reef National Park. Now, I don't remember a whole lot about the national park itself, but one thing that I do recall is seeing a road going off into the distance that looked really cool. And it had a little sign next to it that said 4-wheel drive only, and I really wanted to go down it. And I asked my dad, and obviously since we're in an RV, the answer was no. But now I'm not in an RV, I'm in a 4-wheel drive vehicle, and we are going to go back to Capitol Reef National Park, and I'm going to drive that road, and I'm pretty excited.
Ready for pictures?
And I said, what would you do if you could lose all your burdens? Yeah. And I said, my words are few, but I love you. Those words, please hear them. Yeah.
We are in Fish Lake National Forest, and we're just airing down. We've got about 60 miles of unpaved road from here through Capitol Reef and then up north to close to the interstate, where we're going to cut across to Moab. Well, that was it. After all those years, I finally did it, and what a trail. That was a lot of fun. I really recommend it if you come up this way. It was challenging enough to be fun, but not too difficult that we couldn't get through. I'm really glad we got to do it, and I'm really glad we didn't take the RV down there.
Every time I'm thinking we did the best thing, we come across something else, and it's like, wow.
I know.
I can't wait for Moab.
This state just keeps getting better and better.
That's what Marlene was saying. She was like, so underrated. You know, you hear about Colorado, California, but Utah, how long is it to Moab?
I don't know.
A couple hours? Hour?
I don't know. Haven't a clue.
I haven't had service since like this morning, dude. It's like,
I don't think we have time to do any more off-road, otherwise we wouldn't be airing up right now.
Yeah, true.
So right now we're airing up and we are gonna head to Moab, and hopefully we get there before the sun sets because I need to find somewhere to camp. Our route had taken us from Dixie National Forest to Capitol Reef. I thought it'd be fairly quick. Someone on Facebook had told me that they'd driven their Corolla down the road that we took. That's something I no longer believe. I had planned on taking the unpaved roads through Cathedral Valley, but instead we took the highway towards Moab. That was until I saw a road labeled Missile Base and something marked Abandoned Launch Complex. On the way to Moab, the sun was setting, so I thought I'd try out camping a little further north, and I came across the Athena launch complex on Overland. So this is old nuclear weapon silo behind me, and from here there's a killer sunset. Look at that. I am completely alone up here. Andres continued on to Moab, and I'm going to be completely honest, after walking around here alone, it is giving me the creeps, so I'm going to go on to Moab as well. Outside of Moab are thousands of free BLM campsites, so I looked for a nice remote spot. What I found seemed cool, until someone else rolled in nearby. If you come camping on BLM land, in fact if you just go camping anywhere Don't be that person. You can't quite make it out on the camera, but they're blasting bassy music. Not cool. This is one of the things I love about coming out to visit Colorado, Utah, and places out here. There's just so many places to camp. They're just in the middle of nowhere and free. And once my neighbors over there turned off the music, it was very peaceful out here. Today I'm going to go back up into Moab and meet up with everyone else. Andreas and Wes are both working remotely, so they have work to do while they're out here, and they rented a house. I'm going to meet them there, and then we're going to hit up some trails.
You never hit your sliders, you hit the frame.
Yeah.
Dude, you are at a sharp angle right now. Oh, you're gonna hit that bit. Oh, good job turning the wheel. You saved it.
This is it, the end of Hell's Revenge. What a trail. I did scrape a few times, mainly the frame underneath. I think I caught one of my steps a little I definitely need to get some rock sliders and come back out here. Wow, this is really steep. Oh, there goes the tow hitch. We just came up Pucker Pass and there are just incredible views the whole way up, and it's really cool going through that really small gap in the rocks. And then at the top, if you take a left, you end up in Canyonlands National Park, which is where we're at now. We're about to take the trail down to White Room Trail, out to a viewpoint, and then take Potash Road back to Moab. It is about 7 in the morning and I was supposed to be going out to hike the Fiery Furnace in Arches National Park this morning. Instead, I am parked on a street in Moab because I have a bad sound coming from my back left wheel. I think it's parking brake issues, so I'm going to try taking it apart and looking now. Hopefully I can get it fixed. If not, I'll have to wait here in Moab until a mechanic opens in the morning, or opens tomorrow morning because today's Sunday. It's times like these I wish I had a jack stand with me. The whole thing smells burnt, and this is not lined up where it should be. There, looking there. That's supposed to be attached to something. It's just loose in there. I'm pretty sure this is what the problem is. When I started, I took off one spring and everything just fell apart. Random broken pieces in here. And there's a lot of wear on that. That's been rubbing on something. This is the moment of truth where I find out if that was the issue. I'm pretty sure it was, but if it wasn't, then I'm going to stay here another night while everyone else goes off to Colorado so I can go visit a mechanic in the morning. So, here goes. Having temporarily solved the problem by just removing everything, I met up with everyone else. Wes had to head home, but the rest of us drove east into the cool mountains of Colorado. We pulled into Telluride as the sun was getting low, and we went up Last Dollar Road in search for a place to camp.
What are we looking at here as far as price?
We're looking to buy some property out here. Let's see the view.
It's not too shabby.
Property here. Yeah, not too shabby.
Yeah. Is that a comma or a dot?
That's-
Hold up.
$1.3 million. And you still got to build the house. That doesn't include the house. That's just the property.
Well, let's go down on it, man.
Yeah. We'll split it. And we don't need a
right
house.
down the road, right?
Yeah, we don't need a house because we've got rooftop tents.
There you go.
We've just passed our first patch of snow up here, so we're going to be camping above the snow. Look at those views.
Or something.
What do you think of the view?
Dude, this is like, it's hard to describe it. Like this, I don't know when I'm going to top off this camping spot.
It's like, yeah, I'd say every single campsite we've stayed at, it's like, this is the new best campsite. And
I kind of want to stay here for a week.
I know. Just the view out here is incredible. So we're here, and the view, it's through the trees. Just look at that view. You know, after spending a week out in the desert in the heat, it is nice to be up in the mountains. It's actually a little chilly. I'm gonna have to go put on a hoodie, probably some jeans.
This stuff is dry, man. We're not gonna have any trouble getting this going.
Whoever was here last, okay, get there. Whoever was here last was nice enough to leave us all this firewood.
Where did you learn your English?
I don't know.
Look, you even got some.
I know, benches.
Yeah.
Like, this is just the perfect campsite.
Dude, I'm gonna work from here tomorrow. This is gonna be my office for a few hours in the morning. And it actually looks like the landscape I have at my work. That screensaver.
Yeah, your background, desktop background.
Yeah.
Look at that. I can't think of a better place to work.
Yeah. I tell you, I don't even know if I want to leave. Like, I gotta be back at work on Monday. I may just wait here until I start driving. I can't help coming out here every few minutes to check out that view. It is just amazing. Today is day 13, and we're gonna head down somewhere over there into Telluride. Andres has some work to do, so we're gonna spend some time in town, and then we're gonna head out the other side to Ouray. Most of the passes here are closed still because of the snow. They've had a huge amount of snow this year, but there is Ophir Pass is open, if that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. looks to me as though someone brought up a truck that doesn't really belong here. Get an idea how deep the snow was here by looking up on the bank where those trees are knocked down way above this. Right now we are just south of Silverton looking for somewhere to camp, and I am using Gaia to show me where National Forest land is. I use Gaia Premium, the public lands layer. Anywhere that's green on there is National Forest. And it means that we can camp there if we can find a suitable spot. We don't have to pay. If you are interested in getting Gaia, I do have a discount link for it. They can get up to 52% off, and I'll put a link to that in the description.
Whoops, that was a mistake. One of the great things about camping in a valley like this is the sun has still not risen. It's just past 8 o'clock in the morning and the sun hasn't made it over the horizon. Up there. In fact, you can see it. It's just starting to make its way down the other hillside behind us. Of course, it is also kind of cold here. We've got Lime Creek just behind me, and Coalbank Pass is over that way. We're at about 9,100 feet, so it was a chilly night last night. We're just going to get packed up and we're going to head into Ouray this morning. Behind me, Andreas is airing down. He's dropped off his wife and kid at the hot springs in Ouray, and we are at the base of Imogene Pass, getting ready to go up and see how far we can get. I don't think the whole pass is open because of the snow, but we might be able to make it to the summit, so we'll have to see. And in case you didn't notice, I don't have my 4Runner with me. I am just riding along with Andreas, and I am going to be taking lots of video on this ride. That's what I'm doing right now, is just walking on a little bit ahead to get the shot. This is the life of a YouTuber. It's just running backwards and forwards to get the perfect camera angles.
With a piece in my hand and bloodshot eyes, I walked to the water for a last goodbye. He begged so much, it clouded my mind. One thing's clear, the man's gotta die. But it makes right, so he said, when he held all the keys over our head. I lived in that grip, but now he'll learn at the end with the tables turned. Lord, forgive me, take me on down the river where the guilt can't find a red-handed sinner, on where the grave can't cry out, 'cause I done wrong, down the river with a hand on a Colt and a finger on the trigger, and long before dawn they try to find me, so take me on down. Take me on down. Well, I sank that body by the riverbank, caught a boat south, took off like a hurricane, with spotlights, dogs, hit the whole 9 yards, of breathing down my neck and breathing hard. 2 weeks in a wild chase across the highways, mountains, over 7 states. Found a man at the harbor, said that he could take me across the ocean somewhere far away. Lord, forgive me, take me on down the river where the kids can't find a red-handed sinner, on where the grave can cry out, 'cause I done wrong, down the river with a hand on a Colt and a finger on the trigger, and long before dawn they try to find me, so take me on down, take me on down. On the boarding planks now, staring down a barrel at point blank range. I make for the water, jumping off the ledge, but not before I get through to the chest. Now there's blood and water filling up my lungs, blood and water filling up my lungs. My heart is beating like a fading drum. Lord, forgive me, here I come. Please come a stranger to fly.
Well, this is as far as the road goes. Beyond here it's blocked by snow. According to the guy, it goes directly up there behind me. But there's no way we're making it. But there's a good enough view from here. Just look at this. Tonight's campsite wasn't even supposed to be good. I looked on Overlander. Huh?
It was supposed to be lame.
What was it?
Supposed to be lame, but I'll take it. I mean,
It's beautiful.
it's amazing. I don't think there's such a thing as a lame campsite in Colorado.
I don't think so. When I looked on Overlander, it was just a patch of dirt. Didn't mention anything about the views, but look at that.
Look at that view.
Oh yeah. This is the best view here. I mean, that's why you can't go wrong with any of these campsites. It's because you got this. You're gonna need some of what I've got for you.
What?
Smell this.
What is that?
I don't know, but it smells really good.
Is that what smells kind of like honeysuckle?
Can you smell it over here?
I smell it here.
Yeah.
Right here.
That's,
it's
oh,
like,
we got a bunch right there.
It's like crazy.
Yeah, wow.
Like I thought they had burnt something, and
Yeah.
that's what it was. The smell was coming from.
That smells really good.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's this one you ran over.
Probably.
Kicking up all the smell.
Like right here.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
On our final day in Colorado, we woke up early because there was one more thing we wanted to see before the long drive home.